And good morning. Welcome to Today at the Races, presented by Fidelity First. I'm Stanton Salter, along with the voice of Maryland Racing, Dave Rodman, as we get you ready for the 4-day race week. And that's right, 4 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and now Mondays for the rest of the year. We're just 8 days away from Maryland Million. Nice card today, a bunch of nice maiden special weights today and tomorrow. A little fall briskness in the air today. How are you?
That's good, yeah. Fall freshness in the air. Cloudy skies, temperature about 61 degrees, not really going past the mid-60s today in Maryland. We're expecting some sunshine later this weekend. That's good news for the turf course and hopefully some nice fields for our Monday card, our second Monday card of the fall meet coming up, Racing Monday here at Laurel Park, and not far away from Maryland Million Day, Saturday, October 21st, Stan.
That's right. Pre-entries, they closed a couple days, and all the fields, all the 11 stake races for Maryland Million had closed with big pre-entries, so expect big fields on Maryland Stay at the Races, the Jim McKay Maryland Million. That's Saturday, October 21st. Free admission for all, and all kinds of seating options available, all kinds of fun for the whole family, the kids corral, the jailbreak, beer garden, on-track events, Maryland Million hat contest, and also for first 4,000 that buy a program get a free Maryland Million cap. So it's going to be a big day. We on the Laurel Park Weekly Show, we were talking about some of the pre-entries and those Maryland Million races, and the Maryland Million Lassie shaping up to be a doozy. Margie's Money and Limited View, two fillies that are two-time winners that are pre-entered in that race. The Classic has a bunch of pre-entries in it. What's your favorite Maryland Million race, Dave?
I would say 8 to Fast to Catch. Anything that he's won, which is the Classic. So
sure. only horse to win it three times, right?
Yep. I would say he would rank right up there as one of the tops of all time for Maryland Million on Maryland Million Day.
So hopefully some good rivalries in the Lassie, in the nursery for the 2-year-olds and all the races. So that's a week from this Saturday. The Maryland Million. Go to laurelpark.com for all your tickets and information. Bunch of good press releases and all the connections. And check out this week's edition of Laurel Park Weekly, where we spotlight two fillies that are pre-entered to the Lassie, Margie's Money, and Limited View. All right, let's get right to the action today. We have a nice 9-race card. We're fast and firm. Let's show you the track conditions. Clear skies, a little hazy, a little fall. I like your term, fall freshness. That's a good term for today's weather.
Yeah, we're expecting a little more sunshine later, perhaps here in Maryland. But the little mist of kind of rain we had yesterday did that turf course a world of good. It was pretty firm, so we're in good shape. And I would say 7 to 5 for a nice Maryland Million Day forecast of 75 degrees. That's what's looking at right now. If you're going to do a morning line on the Maryland Million Day program, weather shaping up to be a pretty good weekend going into Maryland Million Week.
Of course, we'll have the Maryland Million draw next Wednesday. We're all a part of that. Will it be a nice draw party right here in the Garden Terrace and Tips here at Laurel Park, 4:30 next Wednesday. So let's get right to it here. Nice card today, 9 races, bunch of big fields on our world-class turf course. We're on the All Along the Dahlia turf course today, and yeah, it should be perfect today. A firm turf course. We had off from turf racing last Sunday and Monday, so should be good to go today on the turf. Let's get right to it here in race 1. Race 1 will have a nice little carryover in the super high 5 with that low 15% takeout. Carryover a little shy at 1,200 for the rolling super high 5. If they don't hit it in the first race, it'll carry to the next race with 7 or more horses, which will be the third race today. So keep your eye on that rolling super high 5. Race 1 also kicks off the early pick 5, and the early pick 5 is a mandatory payout always, and always just like that late pick 5, industry low 12% takeout on both pick 5s, your best bet. I love the early pick 5 today. Races 1 and 3, 2 of our features on the card, a couple nice maiden special weights in the first and third race here for you. I'm going to go 6 deep here in this maiden special weight 2-year-old fillies going along on the All Along here in the opener, then just 2 deep there in the second race. Only going to use 2 horses in that maiden special weight going along on the turf. Why? Well, because Chad Brown's in there, so he comes in. He never loses when he comes here. So I'll use 1 more horse in there. Michael Dickinson, he's in town walking the turf course here today. Good to see him here. Of course, he had a winner last time he was here, and he's got some nice ones here today. We'll get to his runners, but so just 2 deep there in the third race, and then sorry, I got a little distracted there by the Mad Genius walking by. And then I'm going to key on the Colonel Andy from the Tom Morley barn in race 4. number 3, and then going 3 deep there in the 5th race. We'll get to all that. Let's take a look here at the opener where I'm 6 deep here. Nice maiden special weight on the all-along turf course, going a mile and 1/16 for 2-year-old fillies, and wow, some well-bred ones in here, right? How about we start with Barbaros, half-sister, number 1, Madame Milan, 2-year-old filly by Bernardini, out of the Carson City mare, La Villa Rouge. That means she's a half to Barbaro and a bunch of other good runners. This mare's been a solid producer. Her offspring's made over $3 million, and horses going long on the turf. They've won 15 times for over $765,000. The mare, she was graded stakes place going long on the turf, and this one had a useful debut against Maiden Special Weight Company at Delaware, going 7.5 on the turf. Was forwardly placed that day, going 7.5. So you have to think going to have more speed today in her second start, going a little bit longer. Daniel Centeno will ride, gets a nice ground-saving trip from the inside, Lasix and debut, and we'll get a decent price because there's a bunch of well-bred firsters in here. Michael Dickinson, yeah, I know he's in here somewhere early. He's in the first race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in your normal maiden special weight race, Madame Milan, being the half-sister to Barbaro, would probably be a little lower in the morning line than the 7-2. But this is not your normal maiden special weight race.
Right.
This is one of 2 very tough races that we have today on the turf. Pedigree galore from many of the 11 entries as we scratch the 12 MAME out of the opener. You mentioned Barbaro's sister there, Madame Milan, coming back after the debut run at Delaware Park with a really good 5 furlong work at Fair Hill over the synthetic surface. Her trainer Arnaud Delacour, and adding Lasix here for the second start. And number 4, your second pick in here, Miss Patriot, out of a really good mare, Pamela, the George Strawbridge bred, owned by George Strawbridge's Augustin stable. $384,000 in earnings for the dam of Miss Patriot. The majority of those earnings on the turf going long, and she debuts on the turf going long.
Yep, and this one's a half to my census, who's made over 100,000. So the dam's been throwing some nice runners as well. Michael Dickinson, as we said, he's here walking the turf course. This horse with a couple nice works on the Tapeta turf course up there at Dickinson's private training center here in Maryland, up there in Cecil County. And yeah, a couple nice works on the turf. A half mile 48 and 2 back on August 1st, and then more recently 3/4 on the turf, 16 and change. So this horse, like most of the Dickinson runners going long on the turf, should be well prepared here for the debut, and you get Sheldon Russell to ride.
Yeah, you've got a horse in here that kind of intrigues me. I'd be interested to do your take on number 3, Welly, a street sense filly. Couldn't find much on the dam, but it is Hugh McMahon with a debut runner who's got a good strike rate the first-time starters as well.
Yeah, hunch play of the race here. Hunch play, and we'll get a real nice price on the street sense filly. They paid $75,000 for her as a yearling at Keeneland. The dam, she only made $69,000 her first foal. Hasn't done anything yet. This is the second foal. This horse with some works up at Penn National, and then a half-mile work at Pimlico, and then I guess when they got to McMahon's barn, he worked the horse a mile September 12th here at Laurel Park. So hopefully should be well prepared for the debut. Just a hunch play. Hugh McMahon, Katie Davis going very well as of late. They're 25% together with a positive ROI. This horse gets Lasix and debut. McMahon 20% positive ROI with his debut runner. Should get a good inside trip here. Saving ground. Turn this phone off here. All right, tip that guy. With my picks for the day. All right, so that's so a hunch play of the race to 3 Welly.
Mirab, number 7, first-time starter from the Graham Motion Barn with some really solid pedigree on the dam side. B Sharp Sonata, she won almost $600,000. And Stan, the thing about this filly is she could be quite versatile as her dam was. She won on the turf, did B Sharp Sonata, the dam of the 7 Mirab, one going long, one on the synthetic, one on the off-track, one on the dirt. You name it, she did it. And it's a Tiz Now filly from the Motion Barn, Motion with a 19% strike rate with first-time starters according to the Daily Racing Form sample for the last couple of years.
Yeah, B Sharp Sonata won in debut, paid a nice price up there at Delaware on the turf, I believe, when she was on the dirt at Delaware in the debut, I believe, when she was 2. Yeah, she was a stakes winner on the turf and synthetic. She was a grade 2 winner on the main track, the Dan B Sharp Sonata. This one has a full sibling that's made $151,000, won twice going long on the turf. So yeah, Marab bred to be a good one. Some nice works on the synthetic and the main track up there at Fair Hill. Alex Centron will ride. Just one of many well-bred first-timers in here. I tell you, a horse that's going to be a big price. How about the late great William Backer? All he did was breed good horses, and here's a Backer homebred. The 6 Ferdinanda by Giants Causeway. That's a major league turf sire. Madison Myers, a young up-and-coming trainer. She's worked for trainers like Holly Robinson and Ann Merriman. She's an equine massage therapist. She gets the Hall of Famer Edgar Prado to ride. This filly will get a big price on that filly. The Tom Proctor Ghost Sapper first-timer. The 9 Hills of Beverly. What a nice race this is.
Yeah, her trainer you mentioned did train a winner over the jumps last year at Great Meadows. So, she should be fit. Ferdinanda, another horse, I guess ran out of spots. Did you use the 9 on your ticket in there as well?
Yes, you have to use the Tom, yep.
Yeah, the Tom Proctor first-time starter, Ghost Zapper, out of a mare who made $600,000, 10 and 37, and 8 for 26 on the turf. Hills of Beverly, number 9, for Glen Hill Farm and Eclipse Thoroughbreds in partnership.
Yeah, it's a nice race. I go 6 deep here on my early pick 5 ticket using the 1, 3, 4, and the 7, 8, 9. What a nice maiden special weight going long on the all along. 4 2-year-old fillies here in race 1. Let's turn the page here. The second race going to kick off the early pick 4. We're going 7 furlongs on the main track, claiming 5,000. So 3 and up, 2 and 6 months. Never won 5. You get a bunch of old salty campaigners in this race. A couple scratches. Scratch the 1, Love You Back, and the 6, Grandy Shores. I end up with the 4, Final Form. My top pick here, Jeremiah O'Dwyer, is a young trainer stabled here at Laurel Park. He's won a race this fall meet, and this horse getting a big class relief. Just throw out the last turf race. That was just an experiment. Didn't go too well, but gets back to the main track here. Look at the race 3 starts ago. Last time we saw this horse at Laurel Park, a nice win against Beaton 7500 Company, and then stepped up to Allowance Company at Timonium. This is as cheap as this horse has run in a long time. My only concern, maybe the 7 furlongs isn't his best distance, but finds a soft group here. Well, no, doesn't find a soft group. Finds a tough group here, but he's getting a class relief, and he's getting Javion Toledo aboard as well.
Well, the question is, can he relive the form back at Penn National in the summer? Switch barns since then to Jeremiah O'Dwyer stable. Toss off the turf experiment. Maybe the bull ring at Timonium was not to his liking, so he's coming back to Laurel where he's got to win. That's for sure. That's one feather in his cap, a win over this track.
Yep. And then the 5, Attica in for trainer Claudio Gonzalez, leading trainer here for the fall meet. This horse a 2-time winner at Laurel Park. Just throw out the last race up at Parks. I don't know what happened up there. It was coming into that race after having a couple months off. Maybe needed a race. Sometimes Parks is a tricky track to ship up to, but has a good record here at Laurel Park. I like that win going a flat mile against Wide Open Nickel Company back in July. Anything close to that's going to put the 5 right there for Strong Connections.
Back to a track he likes, and also a rider that apparently gets along with him, and Jomar Torres, a Tuscadero in the 5.
And the 7, E.M. Maximus, Ron Milquette, stabled here at Laurel Park for the fall meet. This horse shipping up from Ellis Park. Sheldon Russell will ride. 8-year-olds made a bunch of money. 1 start going 7 furlongs. He finished 3rd that time. Russell should get a nice trip on the outside here with the 7.
With the question marks surrounding Final Forum and whether he can relive the summer form in a Tuscadero and what happened last out, though he does like Laurel, E.M. Maximus is a good, solid alternative. Though a short field, you might get a price because this is his first start here at Laurel Park. And Moquette Barnes spotting him well here for that nickel.
All right, so I'm just 2 deep on my early pick 5 ticket. I'm going to play today just using a 4-5 here on my $36 ticket. Let's take a look here at the 3rd race. Here we go again. Another nice maiden special weight going a mile and a 16th on the Dahlia Turf Course, rail at 52 feet. This one for maiden filly and mares 3 and up. And, Chad Brown, all he does is come here, and any guy that comes in and runs 1, 2, and 2 graded stakes, I'm going to respect a lot. I'm not going to go against this Chad Brown filly. We'll get a decent price because there's a bunch of well-bred, well-meant runners in here. The 10 Peace Front by War Front, the Dam Return to Paradise. She was a stakes winner going long on the turf. This filly's a half to Canzoni, who made over 100,000, has caught a soft turf in both the tries at Monmouth. A decent debut going long against maiden special weight. The 1st and 3rd finisher will come back to win. And then this horse improved in the second start, went off the favorite in the second start, bumped hard at the start, a good second than on a yielding turf course. I'm excited to see what this Warfront filly is going to do on a firm turf course today. Chris DiCarlo coming down to ride for trainer Chad Brown. I like the 10-piece front on top here.
Perhaps a couple of excuses with the good and the yielding ground. Gets a ground that's a little more firm this afternoon, though we did have some rain earlier in the week. It's maybe firm with just a little bit of a touch of give in it. She had trouble in her last start, and key race players are going to love this filly. They have to chase her again because her debut run at Monmouth August 4th, there have been 4 next out winners out of that race, I believe. So I guess she's due. She was beaten in favorite last time out with some trouble out of that key race, but key race followers will certainly have to include 10-piece front on their ticket.
All right, and we'll get a decent price because Delacour has 2 in here. Michael Matzma might have the favorite in here. How about the Hammy Smith horse from the inside, the one prevailing party? But let's talk about the Delacour runners. He has 2 in here. The 8, Guess What, who had a good third going long on the main track at Delaware in the debut. That race originally carded on the turf, so they've been trying to get this Proud Citizen filly on the turf. So I respect that runner, but I'll go with the Arnaud Delacour, first-time starter, the Ireland bred. You know there's turf pedigree top and bottom here for this Ireland bred. Daniel Centeno rides. That's Delacour's main rider. They're 33% together here at Laurel Park. Lasix in debut. A bunch of nice works up there at Fairhill on the main track and on the synthetic. So this filly will be well prepared. The 9, Cedar Chest.
Her sire, Redout's Choice, so looked like he was going to be a superstar in Australia at a very, very young age. This filly bred to run on the grass and love it. First-time starter for the Arnold Delacour runner, Cedar Chest. Could be any kind of horse here. I'd be interested to see how much play she gets first flash on the board here when we see the wagering for the 3rd race.
And the 11, Stealing Holly, a big improvement last out with first-time Lasix going long on the turf at Delaware Maiden Special Weight. That was back in mid-July. That was a big number there, 71. Then what happened since then? We haven't seen this Tappet filly since then. She's been freshened for trainer Michael Matz up there at Fairhill. Gets Jevion Toledo to ride. Doesn't have too much early speed. My concern here with the 11, she's going to get parked wide going into that first turn, and maybe she needs a race. Where's she been since that strong effort on July 15th?
That was first Lasix. This is second Lasix, Stealing Holly. The race has produced a couple of winners, another key race, but those winners came back to win on races that were taken off the turf. So
right.
Some question marks on Stealing Holly given the time away.
And the other Delacour runner, let's talk about the 8, Guess What? They tried to get this filly on the turf in debut. It was taken off the turf, went right to the front on the main track. A useful third. Larkin, who won the race, came back to win. Now, Guess What gets on the turf. Caramanos will ride. Caramanos having a fantastic fall meet. The 8, Guess What? And we'll get a decent 5-1 price on that runner.
How about this second career dirt to turf, Arnaud Delacour, the last 5 years, 11 for 27, 41%.
Yeah,
that would make you go to the window, you would think, right? But
yeah.
look at the pedigrees of some of these other fillies. We mentioned the Australian Redout's Choice, first-time starter, Irish bred by that Australian sire, Peace Front out of a race in the debut that produced 4 next-out winners. Not an easy spot, but comes off that one good effort where Larkin came back to win next out, but that was at Suffolk Downs, I believe, in a race that was supposed to be run on the turf but taken off and moved to the dirt.
And we've talked about 4 fillies in here. We haven't talked about the one yet. Prevailing Party for Hammy Smith, 3-year-old filly by Midnight Loot. She's been knocking at the door at this level. Good third last out, going a mile on the firm turf course here at Laurel Park. It's the 7-pound apprentice Carlos Carrasco to ride. A good third last 2 starts at this level. And then the Albatrani filly, the 3, Elude with Prado aboard. Had a big second on the turf earlier this year down at Tampa. Those last couple races, Saratoga and Belmont, probably a little too tough. It's a tough race here, though.
Kind of liked her last time out and thought she'd have some kick.
Who, Elude?
Prevailing Party. She just didn't. She just kind of even-paced it even through the stretch and all the way around the track. So perhaps today with a switch to an apprentice rider could help her. I don't know, but she's got to repeat at least that form from late June here at Laurel Park and perhaps improve even more given the debut runners and the second and third starters with some changes here in the third race. So Prevailing Party, good effort last time out, but I think has to pick up the pace.
All right, a couple nice maiden special weights. Highlight the early pick 5 this afternoon here at Laurel Park. I have a $36 ticket, probably play a bigger ticket than that. Let's get a commercial break. When we come back, we'll start with today's 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6. Starts in race 4 right after this. All right, welcome back. Today at the race is presented by Fidelity First. Let's get right to today's 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6. They hit it last weekend, for a little over 10,000. They hit the Pick 6. I was chasing it for a few days. I'm going back to the Pick 5s until that carryover gets up a little bit. But there it is, little over $500 carryover today, and the 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6. It starts in race 4. Race 4 also kicks off the middle Pick 4, and I use a key horse here in this race on the early pick 5 ticket I'm going to play. We're going 5.5 furlongs on the all-along turf course here in the 4th. 25,000 starter allowance. Never won 2. Optional claiming 25,000. Never won 2. And Tom Morley's bringing the Colonel to town. Number 3, Colonel Andy is my key horse on the early pick 5. 7-2 morning line. Jevion Toledo will ride this 4-year-old. It looks like he's pretty versatile. A nice win to break the maiden a few starts ago, sprinting on the turf at Saratoga, going 5.5, came from off the pace that day. And then recently against 40,000 2 Life, going 3/4 on the turf up there. Belmont went to the front, a good second that day. Now cuts back to 5.5. A beautiful distance for this horse. Toledo should get a nice trip on the inside. Hopefully doesn't fall too far back and get too covered up early on. Hopefully he gets a nice early stalking position on the inside here with the 3, Colonel Andy.
Oh, well, the question is, are you keying on the horse or are you keying on the trainer? Because Tom Morley certainly has the hot hand for sure. He's never started Colonel Andy over this Laurel Park turf course. Had the breakthrough maiden score for $40,000 against New York Breds. Couple of good races since then, but you look at his maiden form, kind of tried to follow horses home. But if he does repeat that maiden race at Saratoga back in July, he should be tough there. There have been a couple of winners out of that race as well. And again, it is the hot trainer, Tom Morley. Everything he's sent out has been super sharp here. Turf, dirt.
So, all right, the 3, Colonel Andy, my top pick here. The 8, Fly E Dubai is going to get a nice trip from the outside with J.D. Acosta. This horse just missed against Virginia Breds last out in the punchline. A good third at 32-1 that day. Jerry Thurston, the trainer. J.D. Acosta will ride once again. This horse is a winner on the Laurel Park grass, and this is the main danger, I think, here. Should get a nice stalking trip from the outside.
Acosta, who rode him to a nice 32-1 third-place finish in the Punchline Stakes, back aboard this afternoon. Maybe that was the key to shake him up. He's always had a good amount of early speed. You've got a good speed rider aboard off a sharp effort in the Punchline, and he's a winner on the Laurel turf.
And then I'll throw the 9 in there. Love You Much. Threw a clunker last out, maybe. Needed that race. He was coming into that race after having a couple months off. Had a nice maiden win sprinting on the turf this past June here at Laurel Park against maiden 25,000 company. Caramanos gets back aboard today. He was aboard for that win, so Caramanos gets on the 9. Love You Much here for Ferris Allen. Should get a nice trip from the outside if we can see an effort like we saw back in June when this horse broke its maiden.
Even then, he'd probably have to improve a little bit. I don't know. He beat True Cat. He beat Major Anthem, who's a really long time maiden in that spot. So you got Fly Dubai and Colonel Andy off a sharp barn in there. Love You Much, certainly a contender, but I think he's probably got to run a little bit faster today.
And the 2, Total the Ben's been the beaten favorite the last 2 times sprinting on the turf here at Laurel Park, and doesn't have too much early speed. It's going to be covered up early. Just doesn't have that final punch, but should be right there with Katie Davis aboard for Hugh McMahon and the 4. Don't Poke That Cat. Good second behind Anna Soit last out at this level, coming off a layoff. Edgar Prado right back aboard for Robin Graham. Nice 5-1 price there on the 4, Don't Poke the Cat.
Yeah, Anna Soit was a Tom Morley trained runner, and there you see Don't Poke the Cat finishing second September 23rd. Total to Benz finishing third. Not much between them. Total to Benz loomed after getting a little rank early in the race. Kind of loomed there and flattened out a little bit, where Don't Poke the Cat was trying to finish off the job and kind of hung a little bit late. Anna Soit digs in to hang on for the Morley barn.
All right, so nice little turf sprint there to kick off the pick 6 and a middle pick 4. Let's take a look here at the 5th race to kick off the late pick 5. No carryover, but as always, industry low, 12% takeout on the late pick 5. Both pick 5s with that low 12% takeout. It's a nice dirt route here, going a mile and a 16th, claiming 5,000 for 3-year-olds or older horses. Never won 3, and I go with a horse that's taken advantage of this dual condition, a 3-year-old that's won 4 races already, going against older horses that have never won 3, and that's the 4, Deal Driven for trainer Phil Schoenthal. 4-1 morning line. This horse a nice win, going 9 furlongs last out against beaten 6250 Company at Charlestown's. 3 for 5 in the money here at Laura with the win. We'll get a decent price because Kelly Breen bringing down a big-time class dropper here. The 5, who's a 5-2 morning line favorite, Awfully Brawn, just got clobbered by 40 lengths last out at Parks, taking a big drop. That was against Starter Allowance Company, taking a big drop here to the Nickel Company. By far the cheapest this horse has ever run. He won by 14.25 lengths against 16,002 Life Company, going long at Monmouth over the summertime. But something's happened since then. What do you think of this big class dropper, the 5?
Well, for an 8-horse field with 7 wagering interests, the races really certainly looks like a maze to me. You know, a Deal Driven, 2 out of his last 3, they came at Charlestown, but he does like Laurel, that's for sure, so that's a positive, so you tend to tilt toward him. Awfully Brawn, was that just a Monmouth kind of fluke speed figure there? 85 buyer, no matter which figures you use, it came up strong. Then he went to Saratoga off the strength of that race as a beaten favorite against Starter Allowance up there. And then a completely dull effort, giving him the reason, I guess, on paper at least, to drop him down. Clubman, very convincing, kind of when he stopped abruptly is a short comment in that race. So you got every reason to plummet him down to the nickel, and maybe no takers either. So if he rolls back to that Monmouth race, no doubt.
Catch is kind of a soft group here, so you have to respect him and use him a little bit. He could wake up here and get a piece of it. So I use him in the exact to see if the 4, Deal Driven, can get to. I go 3 deep here on my early pick 5 ticket, using the 3, Still Burning, the 4, Deal Driven, and the 5, Awfully Brawn. The 3, Still Burning for trainer Jose Corrales. You get the 7-pound apprentice Luis Rodriguez. He had a win here last weekend at Laurel Park. Last time we saw this horse at Laurel Park a couple starts ago, late September, a decent 3rd against 10,003 Life Company. He was a good 2nd 3 starts ago at Timonium. So should get a good inside trip here. You're getting 7 pounds off with the Bug Boy on the 3, Still Burning.
Yeah, he's going to be part of the pace. He loves to have that lead, but what kind of pace will Deal Driven show? Even more importantly, what kind of pace, if any, will Awfully Brawn show? So if it's a setup, you know, a horse like a Squashville Road, if he goes back to some of his old form, perhaps could pick up some pieces and a share in the spot. He angled down to the inside last time against a sharp runner, Ice-T. What's Ice-T won? 5 or 6 races this year? Won the other day. I forgot how many.
Yeah, he won 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
So I throw the 2, Bull Ensign, in there. This horse doesn't like to win, but likes to pick up checks for trainer Mike Girales. And you get 5-pound apprentice Ashley Costrenzi to ride. This horse comes from off the pace. He's slow early. You hope he doesn't fall too far back, but 7-2 morning line on the 2, Bull Ensign. 3 deep for me here, 3, 4, and 5 on the early pick 5 ticket. This race also kicks off the late pick 5. Let's turn the page here. We're back on the turf here for race 6 to kick off the late pick 4. We're going 5.5 furlongs on the Dahlia turf course with the rail at 52 feet, claiming 16,000 for 3-year-olds or older horses. Never won 3, and I go with the 6, Mar Vista Miguel for trainer Jane Sibilli. Joe Moore Torres will ride this horse, taking a big drop in class from Monmouth. You look at the race 2 starts ago. That was against 25,003 Life going 5.5 at Monmouth. Nice win that day, wire to wire, 81 buyer speed figure, and then it came off the turf last out and ran an okay third up there at Monmouth for 35,000. Now a big drop to this level. Maybe that's a little cause for concern, but she does it again with a horse I like a lot tomorrow. Quick Thinker. This is how Sibeli wins a lot of races. 3 wins already this fall meet. The drop doesn't scare me here from this barn. I'll go with the 6, Marvista Miguel. The 4, though, he's a pussycat, going to be speed to the inside. I think the 6 can get a nice stalking trip to the outside.
Well, there's a couple things to worry about. Marvista Miguel in that first start for Sibeli, beating the neck in a 3-way photo finish, was very unruly behind the gate, I believe it was that day. Maybe lost whatever race or edge he had there, though he ran a big one, beating only a neck. Then he comes back to win at Monmouth next time out. And, you know, he's got some speed. Yeah, he's got stalking speed perhaps, but he's a pussycat's pretty darn fast. To show that, he's 2 for 3 at Laurel Park. So he's got to be on his best behavior and attitude to the gate, and he's got to put up with some pace pressure perhaps at least midway on the turn or the quarter pole, and then put in his best effort to finish off the game there in the final 16th with the second wire finish.
If they just let He's a Pussycat go out there and dictate early, and he's 3-4 in front, turning for home like his 2 turf wins here at Laurel Park over a firm turf course have been, then he'll be awfully tough. Hopefully Torres can have this horse measured and be sitting right to the outside, or maybe even get to the lead, turning for home with the 6, Marvista Miguel. So 6-4 for me. Yeah, He's a Pussycat, should be right there. The 1, Tightly Bridled for Mike Juralis. This horse doesn't like to win too much, has a win this year, but likes to kind of rally up there and get checks. Forest Boys will ride. Beaten favored at this level 3 starts ago. A good third last out at this level at 2-1. This horse will get bet again today. Doesn't have too much early speed. It's going to get covered up with a bunch of traffic. Going to have to navigate through traffic coming from out of it, I think.
He's going to come from out of it. He's got a good pace ahead of him. Alex Cintron will take the mount correctly, right?
The
Forest
Boys
on the 5
on
Speedy Slew. On the 5-horse Speedy Slew.
Centron's on the 5 and the Forest on the 1. Yep.
But Speedy Slew was, I guess, the horse I'm talking about, closing from off the pace here. That was kind of an odd race last time that he ran. He rated 4 wide, and then he was out finished. But the whole race was kind of a maze. 6 bits, so I think was maybe 0 for 9 on the turf.
Yep.
Coming into the race, actually hangs on to win there and a driving finish over Chasing the Blues and skipping to victory. You might see a different situation with more pace ahead of him today with Speedy Slew and Tightly Bridled, the other closer in the race. But, 7 thirds out of 20 starts. He does like to run up toward horses and maybe wait a little bit when the real running counts. Chili Magician gets blinkers on, by the way. That's a late change.
That is late change.
I don't know if you had that.
Didn't have that.
We'll announce that in a little bit. Blinkers on. He also comes out of the 6 bits race.
Yep.
So,
okay.
All
right. So blinkers on the 7 there. I'm going with the Jane Sibeli dropper there. The 6, Marvista Miguel. Nice turf sprint there to kick off the late pick for it. So turn the page here. The 7th race. Nice 7,500 starter allowance, going a mile and a 16th on the all along. I'm going right back to Austin Bill. I liked him last out when he stepped up to first level allowance contest. Maybe it bounced a little bit on the firm turf course that day. He was wide both turns. Katie Davis stays aboard for trainer Sergio Perdinas, gets back down to the $7,500 level. This horse won 2 starts ago with a strong 85 buyer speed figure. So I'm hoping the 6-year-old son of Austin again can get back to that number today. Maybe it was a yielding turf course that day. Maybe Austin Bill needs a yielding turf course. We'll find out today. I'm going to give him one more shot on a firm turf course. We'll get a decent 4, 5, 6 to 1 price on him today.
5-time turf winner Intrepid Citizen beat him a couple races back. I mean, They've kind of been very, very close on the line together. You got the speed of Odlum, who, if you let him get away all by himself up front, he's going to be dangerous. And looking at the race, maybe the only other speed in here, really solid speed that could run with him, is Put It Forward if he shows that kind of lick on the grass. Odlum's pretty fast. early in the early stages.
Put It Forward's an interesting horse. I picked this horse fourth. The horse does have a win on the turf, 0 for 2 on the laurel grass. But trainer Jonathan Maldonado having a nice meet, and he's got this 7-year-old in good form recently on the dirt. A nice win 2 starts ago in the slop at Timonium. Nice win last out, going a mile here. Laurel against beaten 7500 company. He's paired up a couple 71 buyers. So Put It Forward. He's in good form. Might be going right to the front. I think you're right. It's going to be that horse in the 3, Odlum, going out front early on.
And let's not overlook Barney Rebel, the Mary Epler barn. If he runs back to his spring to midsummer races here at Laurel Park, where he reeled off 3 in a row between Laurel and Pimlico, he was in sharp form right then kind of tailed off. He's been beaten by Intrepid Citizen in the last 3 starts, but he's 9 years old. He's a 9-time winner. He's a 3-time winner over the grass here. This is kind of a grab bag of a race here. The 7th, if nobody runs with Odlum, he could be gone. If Barney Rebel runs his best, Intrepid Citizen likes the grass, and your top pick, Awesome Bill, has been in super sharp form.
Yeah, Barney Rebel could appreciate getting back on a firm turf course today. He's gone off form the last couple on a yielding turf course, but over the summertime back in July on a firm turf course was in very good form. So yeah, I overlooked him a little bit. We'll get a decent 4 or 5 to 1 price there on the 7 Barney Rebel. It's a typical, very tough, competitive 7,500 starter allowance going long on the turf there in the 7th race to kick off the final pick 3. Nice allowance feature of the day here in the 8th race to kick off the late daily double. Nice first level allowance contest for 2-year-old fillies. Optional claiming 50,000 going a mile on the main track. And we have a video spotlight here of Theodosia, an impressive maiden special weight winner last out. First time they stretched this exchange rate filly out to go in a route of ground for trainer Cal Lynch. She'd had 3 prior starts, going short, a couple decent efforts, but she put it all together here. Second time blinkers, going long. Toledo with a nice ride. I think she's going to like this 1 mile distance once again today against Allowance Company.
A really solid figure for the exchange rate filly, stretching out beyond 5.5 for the first time. The distance helped her. She likes this 1-turn mile, 1 for 1 at it. She likes Laurel, consistent over the surface. She's going to be really tough to beat today, Stan. Theodosia from the Cal Lynch barn.
I remember talking to Cal Lynch in the winner's circle after this win. They're high on this filly. They were expecting a big effort that day, stretching them out to a mile, and they got it. So I think they're going to get another big effort today. But there's some seasoned fillies in here that have won going long. And let's take a look at the 6 Ridgemont High from trainer Hammy Smith's barn. You know the Hammy Smith 2-year-olds are going to be fit. This is a 2-year-old filly by Super Saver, and she put it all together in her second start. They dropped her. Oh, no, they stepped her up after that nice debut, sprinting on the dirt. They stepped her up the maiden 40, going long on the main track, and she won by 16 going away. Now, that race originally carted on the turf. It was taken off the turf. That was a small 4-horse field, but at least she has a useful race going this distance.
Yeah, at first glance, you see 16 lengths and go, wow, she was great. But the race was taken off the turf. It was only a 4-horse field, so she only beat 3 others in a race taken off the grass. So maybe take that last race with a grain of salt, but she's going to be fit coming into this race, coming off the mile at Delaware, having 2 works since then here at Laurel Park. Nice, good maintenance, half and 50, then a 102 and 4 over this track last week, October the 5th. So the race kind of comes down to these 2 fillies. Theodosia, though, loving that 1-turn mile.
And the 7 Arbutus, a sharp win at 7 to 1 last out when they stretched this filly by Baltimore Bob. Baltimore Bob, a stakes winner going long on the turf and dirt. And trainer Dove Houghton stretched this filly out long on the turf last out, and they got the money. She went wire to wire that day. Dove Houghton having a nice meet. Kevin Gomez stays aboard this Baltimore Bob filly today, getting back to the dirt. At least we know she's fit to go long, and that was a sharp win going wire to wire last out. I think Arbutus, a nice filly, could be right there at a decent price here.
Well, we think she's not as fast as Hip Hop earlier in the race, in the early stages of the race, so she's going to have to maybe come from off of it today and like the switch back to the dirt and come from out of whatever pace there is. She didn't make the lead on Hip Hop, who's one of her rivals again today. She's pretty quick, and you got to toss Hip Hop's last race at Charlestown. She was 7th in there. Got a little respect at almost 5 to 1, but the filly that beat her there, No Blame, is now 3 for 3 in her career. So coming back to realistic company today.
And what What do you make of the Michael Stidham filly here? The two, Dinesh, Alex Cintron will ride. This filly went off 4-5 in debut at Delaware going long. It was originally carted on the turf, taken off the turf, so it was a small 4-horse field. She won by 9 going away at a short price, so she's at least fit to go the distance. Cintron takes the call here for a good barn.
Yeah, a little difficult to load, according to the short comment. The runner-up of that race came back to break maiden, but it was only for 16,000 when on the turf.
And this filly got a low number there in that maiden special weight win. So I'm on Theodosia here in the nice allowance feature to kick off the late daily double. Let's turn the page here. Race 9. We're going 5.5 furlongs on the Dahlia turf course. Rail at 52 feet. Maiden claiming 16,000. Filly and Mares trainer Dale Capuano's having a nice fall meet. 3 wins so far this meet here. Dale Cap had 2 wins last weekend, and he has 2 fillies in here. The 8 Grand Lassie with Toledo and the 10 Conjecture with the 5-pound apprentice Ashley Castrenzi. So I'm going to go with the Bug Girl. She's getting some weight here. This horse a good second, going 6 furlongs at this level last out. So I think the Bug Girl's going to get a nice trip, stalking from the outside here on this Great Notion filly. I'm going with a Dale Capuano exactor here in the finale. Number 10 Conjecture over the 8 Grand Lassie.
Oh, it is a good chance that Dale Cap, with these 2 fillies, has the chance to run 1-2. I'm going to give maybe a slight edge to Grand Lassie with a lot of trouble in the first start here. In 2017, she was off since November of 16. First after the claim, comes back to run a monster race. Arguably, you should have won. Had checked, not only checked, but checked sharply. And Elisa, a big price runner, gets a better, clear trip to come back. But a good effort from Grand Lassie. Conjecture, I've always liked her early speed. She's just not following through, Stan. I don't know. Maybe today's the day. Maybe she's found the field.
She's getting she's getting 8 pounds from Grand Lassie, who's going to be coming from out of it. So maybe box to Dale Capuano exact in the finale.
Okay.
And then I throw the 2 Saturday's Rain into my top 3. Caramanos aboard for Ferris Allen. Caramanos was aboard 2 starts ago. Last time this filly was sprinting on the turf here. Laurel, I was against Maiden 25. Good second that day. She's had a little freshening since that last race in late August. She comes from way out of it. My concern is she's going to get way covered up here early on down the back stretch.
Yeah, and Nina's Patience you got in the mix. This is going to be the second start for trainer Doug Nunn. She had that inside trip last run and ran a pretty good effort. Maybe she likes an outside kind of a trip better. I thought she tried the whole way around the track against similar level here. Nina's Patience, but way on the far outside park today. Not post 14, but with the scratches moving in a little bit.
And also with the scratch, we had a scratch somewhere with the 3 scratch in here. So that draws in off the AE on the far outside. The 16 Out of Juice for the Hall of Famer King Leatherberry. Out of Juice does run in so we'll need a rider somewhere. Caramanos on the 2.
Hamilton's on the 16 Out of Juice, who does get into the race. But she was 45-1 against Crossroads and Nina's Patience and Petticoats and Pistols. Again, a filly you'd have to pick it up a little bit. I know Nina's Patience is 0 for 15, but I thought a pretty good effort. Again, similar level, but the Dale Cap runner, particularly the one you've got picked second there, just a ton of trouble in her last race, Grand Lassie, if you go back and look at the video there.
All right,
is that right, Grand Lassie? Did I say the right one?
Grand Lassie, that's it. Grand Lassie, you're going to be coming late here in the finale. That's it. We're out of time here. 33 after 12. We're coming up on a 1:10 first race post time. Nice early pick 5 today. I like it. Nice maiden special weight in races 1 and 3. 2 of our features of the day. Dave's going to stay up next, give you all today's scratches and changes. Me and Tim Tulloch up this afternoon.
We'll see. Keith is down in New Orleans, your regular buddy on this show. Right. They're probably watching now at the Edenborn OTB down there in Metry. So hello out there in Metry.
Keith, if you're watching down there, good luck. Play the early pick 5 today. All right, good luck.